Hello everyone and welcome to English Composition 2. My name is Professor Walia and I just wanted to give a brief introduction of what the course will involve. So English Composition 2 is known as a number of things, but I think the most popular nickname for this course is the research paper course. So we'll stick with that nickname and I'll talk to you a little bit about what your research paper will actually involve later on. But for now, I just wanted to explain that English Composition 2 is very much a continuation of the work you've already done in English 111 or English Composition 1. So that means you'll still be reading works from different disciplines. You'll still be writing in sort of different formats. So we'll continue writing things like summaries, things like critical analysis, things like writing about place. The difference, though, between English Composition 1 and English Composition 2 is that your culminating assignment at the end of the semester will be a paper that involves quite a bit of research. Okay, and so this is an online course, and I think what is really important to ensure success in an online course is knowing a couple of things from the very beginning. So the first thing that is important we all get on the same page about is how the course is organized. Then I want to explain how you can navigate the course, how you can reach me, Professor Walia, your instructor, important requirements and deadlines, and a little bit about my expectations. So without further ado, we're going to begin, and I'm going to shift now to our Blackboard page. Hello again. So in terms of how the course is organized, what you see in front of you is the course syllabus. And so just give me a second. You'll find when you go to course outline a breakdown of how the course is organized. So you'll see that each module is organized according to date and topic. So this first, I call it sort of like a pre-module that we're in is the getting started pre-module. And I say pre-module because we're not really sort of getting into actual writing assignments. This is more to get you to have practice with what it's like to navigate an online course. So you'll see that the dates are January 25th through February 1st, which basically means you have up until February 1st to complete all of the tasks that are listed on the right-hand side. So this getting started module is really about, again, having you acclimate to our Blackboard page, as well as having you introduce yourself to your colleagues and to me, your instructor. Then we have the actual module. So our first module, we're going to start by talking about that final paper that I mentioned earlier. So instead of a traditional research paper, you're going to be completing something called an autoethnography. So this first module, we're going to talk about what that involves. We're also going to talk about ways that you can organize paragraphs, and this might be familiar to some of you who have taken 111, but I think it's important for us to talk about it again so we're all on the same page. And then we're also going to be talking about how we can incorporate place into our writing, specifically our writing for the autoethnography. Then we will move on to the second module where our focus will be on the thesis statement. What is a thesis statement? Different ways that you can craft a thesis statement. We're going to talk about what pre-writing is, and I'm going to give you some time, or actually give you a space to think about what your autoethnography will be about. And we're also going to be talking about first drafts and writing about people and how people can be a kind of research that you may or may not incorporate into your final project. Then our third module will focus on how to summarize, how to analyze, and how to synthesize. So it's the eyes module. And in addition to talking about these three kinds of writing, we will also be talking about incorporating history into our research. In the fourth module, we will be talking about integrating quotes and APA, which is a type of citation style. And we will talk about how we can write about difficult concepts. And we'll talk a little bit about incorporating math and science into our writing, which is why we're going to be talking about difficult concepts, because often at least in my experience, folks who are in the humanities, or maybe even outside of the humanities, we tend to avoid talking about numbers or bringing in numbers or scientific concepts into our writing because it's really difficult to understand these concepts. So writing about it also becomes difficult. And then the fifth module will be about applying feedback. So at this point, you would have received feedback both from me and from a workshop partner. And so we're going to talk about how do you take the feedback you've received and apply it to your draft. And we're going to look at different examples of that. And we're also going to be talking about critique as a type of research. And I don't mean critique meaning like workshop, I mean critique as a kind of writing. But we'll talk more about that later on. And that will be our final module. So again, this course is organized into 5 modules. So if you remember, that's the first really important aspect of an online course. The next important aspect of an online course is understanding how to navigate an online course. And so our online course, everything can be found on Blackboard. And I just want you to pay attention to the left-hand side, specifically course information and syllabus. So on this button, or within this button, you'll find the course syllabus that you can print out by just clicking here. You'll find information about me. You'll find information about this course. And you'll find the course outline that I just walked you through. So that's really important for you to look over anytime you're confused about what's going on in the class. Announcements is really important. Right now we don't have any announcements because this is before the semester has started. But once the semester starts, here is where you'll find any changes to our schedule, any notes about things I'm noticing that students are responding to, or things I'm noticing that students are saying that we might want to take a look at together, or just general announcements about other things that are happening on campus. So this is, again, announcements. This is where you should go. And then getting started would be where you find the tasks that you want to complete before we actually enter the full semester's worth of work. And you'll remember I talked about this as being a pre-module on our syllabus, right? The getting started. So here is the getting started pre-module. Here you'll see the tasks. I've also created, this is my first time creating it, so you'll have to let me know if it's useful, this thing called a digital checklist. And so it sort of gives you everything that you need to complete, and once you complete it, you can click the check. I don't know why I did this, since you also have this. I just figured that maybe the act of checking it will be thrilling enough to get us all on track and organized. But again, you'll let me know if that actually worked. And then you'll see the tasks. There tends to be like a basic structure of the tasks. You're watching something or you're reading something, then you're commenting on something. So if I list here, for example, read Warner, you'll see here that I provide the Warner excerpt that you're meant to read. I say review our Blackboard page. I say print out a copy of our syllabus. So here you can see the copy of the syllabus that you can click on and print out. Just a heads up, when you click on it, It will hopefully do this, but again, what it did for me is just it downloaded the syllabus and it's on the bottom left of my window. Should it not, you should always click here because depending on what browser you're on or what computer you're using, sometimes you need to do that extra click. Okay, so that's the Getting Started module, and from there, based on where we are in time, the first thing you'll want to do is click onto the module that we're working in. So within a week, we'll be in module 1. You'll see the title of the module here. You'll see the tasks that you're required to complete, the readings, and the discussion board that you're required to respond in, the reading group discussion that you're required to participate in, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But you'll see every module is organized in the same way. So the tasks, the readings, the discussion board, and the reading group discussion. Just want to show you, I'm not trying to be annoying. I just want you to see that it looks the same. And so those are all the modules. Now, if you remember, I said that there is a discussion board. You can access this discussion board by clicking where it's linked in the module, but you also have access to all of the discussion board prompts if you click on the discussion board icon here. I like to do this because I like to see all of the discussion boards that are required of me. Something I also like to do, depending on if this works. Oh, it doesn't work. Well, I like to copy and paste all of the prompts and print them out just so that I can have them, and you never know, sometimes a response will come to you out of order. So for example, in module 4, you're going to be writing about math and science, and you're going to be picking one of these prompts, and one of them, for example, is find a study that has already been done and reflect on its findings. How does this study connect to your writing project? What does this study not show? So maybe even though this is in module 4, I am reading a study early on in the semester, and so because I have this printed out, I might, start writing about it before the module actually starts, and that's not really such a bad thing. Okay, so that's the discussion board. You'll also see something called reading group discussion, which again, if you remember, was linked in the modules as reading group discussion. So this semester I'm trying something new. I have organized all of you into groups of 5, and you will be responsible for talking about every module's readings in the form of either a discussion board discussion or recording all of you talking about the readings and then just sending me that recording, or emailing each other back and forth and maybe just sending me like a compilation of all of the emails. However you choose to organize your discussion is up to you. However, you need to go to a reading group discussion in order to connect with each other. So when you click on your group, you'll see a little bit of information about how the group, or like my reasoning for creating this assignment. You'll also see a breakdown of how I think this assignment should work, meaning I advise that you use something like Collaborate, which is something you can use here if you click on Collaborate, or the group discussion board, and that again would be where you just post. And so the way that it would work is you would click on reply, and the first person might start by posing a question about that module's assigned readings, and then from there a conversation would begin. But again, all of this information, all of these instructions can be found under that original group page here. Also, I have indicated how this reading will be graded, or sorry, how this conversation, this reading group discussion will be graded. So you might want to take a look at that. And it's important to note that you are required to engage in 5 reading group discussions. 5 because we have 5 modules, so hopefully that makes sense. And I hope that you will stay with your reading group for the entire semester. If there are dire circumstances, you can email me and we can work something out. But for now, I'm hoping the reading groups will stay as is. Then, another button that's important, assignments. When you click on assignments, you'll find information on all of the different aspects of our course. So you'll find information about those discussion board posts, how they're being graded. You'll find information about the group reading discussions, again, how they're being graded, what it will involve. You'll find information about YouTube comments, which I'm going to explain a little bit later, how those comments are graded, and also the deadlines for commenting on these YouTube videos. You'll see information about that first draft of your autoethnography, which is due early on in the semester. Right now there's nothing, but soon you'll see information on that second draft of your autoethnography, and then you'll see more information about your final draft of your autoethnography. Okay, so now I want to get back to the YouTube part. So if we go back, let's actually start with the getting started. So you'll see one of the tasks, the first task actually, is to watch the Start Here video. That is the video that I'm recording right now, and that is a video that I have uploaded to YouTube. So for every module, I have created an instructional YouTube video about a specific concept, and I expect you to click on the video, watch it in its entirety, and then post a comment. And the trick here is you're not just posting any comment. Within the video, I give you explicit instructions of what I want you to respond to. And the reason for this is I found last semester that folks would just watch the first 5 minutes of the YouTube video or just the last 5 minutes and really miss the goal of the instructional video. And so rather than saying respond to the YouTube video in any way you see fit, I will provide instructions within the video, but that means you actually have to watch the video to know what your comment should be about. So for example, it's possible that in the middle of the YouTube video on the autoethnography, I will say something like, I want in your comment for you to provide me with a possible question that you'll try to answer in your final project. And so after you hear that and after you watch the entire video, you will then post a comment that includes what your question will focus on in your autoethnography. So hopefully that clarifies how YouTube works. I have also go to assignments, in the YouTube part, linked you to an article that talks about how you can add a comment to a YouTube video should you be unfamiliar. It's relatively easy. If you know how to comment on Facebook, then you'll know how to comment on YouTube. The only trick might be if you don't have a Google account, you might have to create an account in order to comment on YouTube. These YouTube videos, you're commenting on one per every module, but there are specific deadlines. So the first module, you are required to comment on the YouTube video by February 14th. The second one, March 10th. The third one, March 20th. Fourth one, April 20th. And the fifth one, April 8th. You'll notice that these deadlines are a little bit before the modules end, and this is because I believe you need to interact with your YouTube videos and give yourself time to sort of digest what I'm talking about before you go and complete something like the first draft of the autoethnography, or even complete the writing within the discussion board post. So whether or not the timeline works the way that I want to, we'll see. But one thing that is for sure is you need to abide by or follow the deadlines that I've provided here for the YouTube comments. Okay, so that sort of, I think, covers how you would navigate this website. My Grades is where you can keep tally of your grades for the semester. You'll see everything usually within a couple of days of you posting. So you'll always know where you stand. And I think I want to say that that covers the navigation part of the course. The only other thing that I guess is useful for you to know is we have a course blog. Okay, well, we did have a course blog. No, I'm just kidding, we do. This is our course blog. It's linked in various places. And this course blog is an active space for my face-to-face 121 class. However, it is useful for you to maybe from time to time log in, because my face-to-face 121 class is doing the same work that you're doing. And so, for example, if you click on one of their names, not right now, but throughout the semester, you'll see their posts and the work that they're doing towards their autoethnographies. And so if you ever want to sort of communicate with them, if you feel like there's a similarity between their project and your project and you want to talk about it, you should feel free to do so through comments. I've done this in the past, and it's been kind of cool because online students get to feel like they're in a face-to-face class, especially if they are making time or can figure out some time to meet with these students on campus. I mean, that doesn't ordinarily happen, but should it happen, that's great. And then in terms of the other thing that's really important in order to be successful in an online course is just to know how you can reach me. I can't tell you how many of the students who don't pass this course end up not passing because they just simply don't reach out to me, because there's this weird distance in an online class between instructor and student. So I just want you to know my room is in Carmen Hall, room 397. I'm there really Wednesdays and Mondays, Monday mornings. So if you ever want to meet in person, Wednesdays 1 to 2 are my official hours, but if you want to work something out at another time on Monday and Wednesday, just email me and let me know. And then I hold virtual hours Tuesdays 5 to 6, but you need to let me know again if you want to meet virtually so that I can know to log in and expect you. And then the best way to contact me is through email. So this is my email, my first name dot my last name at lehman.cuny.edu. Okay, and then the other thing that's important in terms of ensuring success is understanding the requirements and the deadlines for this course. So I think I talked a lot about this already, but let's just do it one more time. And I think the best way to do this is to go through the assignments. So this course, you'll be graded out of 100 points. 20 of those 100 points will be based on your participation through YouTube. So again, I created 5 YouTube videos. You're expected to comment on each of these videos. These comments should be a paragraph, about a paragraph long, and I will tell you specifically what these comments should include. These are the deadlines for the comments. If you miss a deadline, then you do not receive credit for that module's YouTube video participation. 25% of your grade is participation through the reading group discussions. Again, you will participate in 5 group discussions, 1 discussion per every module. And I give you more information about how these discussions can unfold. Again, it can take place through discussion board. It can take place through a recorded Skype conversation or a recorded Collaborate conversation that is just emailed to me. It can take place in person, and you can either have me sit in maybe as you're talking about the readings in person. It can probably take place in other ways that I haven't thought of, and so you'll let me know how you're interested in interacting with these texts and interacting with your group. I am open to hearing your interpretation of this assignment, but I just need you to communicate with me if you are using something that I have not mentioned here so that I can sort of yay or nay it. Okay, 25% of your grade will be through individual discussion board posts. So you are required to submit 5 discussion board posts this semester. Each of these posts will be in response to different prompts. And so what that means is, let's just show you again. In Module 1, we're going to be talking about writing in place. And so you will choose any of these prompts and respond to them. Not all, just one. I give you options because depending on what your project is about, you might want to do something different for your prompt response. And so I guess I should clarify here, these discussion board responses are meant to get you thinking about your autoethnography. So for example, when you're picking a response here, you'll see one of the options is visit the space your writing project will focus on or take place in. Take pictures of this space, describe the space in detail, try to use all 5 senses. So if you decide that your autoethnography, for example, is going to be about the lack of libraries in the Bronx, you might go to the one library that does exist in the Bronx, take pictures of it, and then describe the space and post all of this on our discussion board. And that would fulfill all of the requirements. And so again, you're picking one. You're following the guidelines that I have provided here in terms of are you using a little bit of research? Are you using some kind of outside source? An outside source can mean you literally were outside and you're talking about something that is outside. Outside source can mean you talk to someone and you're telling us about this conversation. Are you adhering to the prompt? So if you remember, that prompt before was about place and space. So have you addressed all of the questions there? And thoughtfulness. I do expect you to proofread your post. I do expect you to use complete sentences. Just because this is a discussion board does not mean we're not using best practices in terms of complete sentences and clear writing. So again, you're going to do 1 post for every module. Every module, the theme is different. So in the second module, you're going to be looking at writing in people. So there are going to be 4 different options that have to do with writing about people. Then there's writing in history, writing in math and science, and critique. Before every module begins, I will give you sort of a summary of what is expected of you, so don't feel too terrible if you're not understanding what's going to go on in every module at this moment. What's more important is that you understand the requirements of the course and how to access the requirements. Then and so again, I post the deadlines for these posts here as well. 5% of your grade will be that first draft of your autoethnography, which will be due March 14th. It will be at least 3 pages, and more details about this first draft I will give you shortly. Your second draft of your autoethnography will be worth 10% of your grade. You will submit this draft by April 1st, and you will provide feedback on another partner's draft by April 29th. The combination of providing feedback and providing your own draft is what will get you the full 10 points. If you don't provide feedback on someone else's draft, you won't get full credit for this part of the assignment. And then finally, 15% of your grade will be the final draft of the autoethnography, which will be due by May 13th and has to be at least 8 pages. Here again is the grading breakdown. I don't know if I should stress this too much because I am sure we're all going to get A's in this course, but should you get below a 69, you will have to take this course again. There's no such thing as a D in this course. There's also no such thing as failing it and just forgetting about it. You have to pass this course in order to graduate. Okay, and then the last thing, my expectations. I will keep this super short and sweet. I expect you to follow the guidelines that I have provided. I expect you to post by the deadlines that I provide. I expect you to communicate with me if you're unable to post by the deadlines that I have provided. And I expect that you will read all of the assigned readings that I provide within each module. This might sound super silly, but the readings that I have provided here are not readings that I just want to kill time with. They're readings that show you what an autoethnography can look like, or they're readings that really help guide the discussion board responses that you are meant to do in a particular module. So those are my expectations. I also expect, and I guess this is the most important thing, I expect that if you are an adult in an online class, that you are prepared to troubleshoot. What that means is it is not a valid excuse to say that Blackboard wouldn't let me sign in, YouTube gave me an error message, Google, I forgot my password. Those are sort of things that as a regular human we're used to dealing with because technology can be testy, but as an online student, those are things that you're even more used to dealing with, and so it's your responsibility to troubleshoot, to reach out to IT at Lehman, to Google the problem you're having and seeing if there's a Googleable solution. Whatever the case may be, I expect that you as an online student will follow those protocols and again, not send me an email with something like I couldn't access Blackboard because that simply won't be enough to excuse a late assignment or no assignment at all. And so on that positive note, I'll end this video. Now that you've watched this Start Here video, you can continue moving through this first pre-module, and I'll look forward to hearing from all of you in the introduction discussion board thread, as well as the future modules.